Leo stood on the deck of the space station, his gaze fixed on the vast stars beyond the viewport. The station was a joint base shared by humans and the Arcari, a proud and strong alien race. For months, Leo had been assigned here as a junior officer. He was eager to prove himself, but the work was not easy. The station was tense, with uneasy feelings between the species. Trust was rare, and respect was harder to earn. Among the alien officers, one stood out most of all, Commander Villari. She was tall, with sharp features and skin that shimmered slightly under the station's lights. Her eyes were deep and cold. Like the dark space outside, her reputation was fierce. She was the leader of the Arcari forces on the base and known for being strict and serious. She rarely smiled, and no one ever saw her speak casually. For Leo, Villari was a mystery. She never spoke to him. At meetings, she would glance around the room, but always seemed to avoid looking at him. Sometimes she walked past without even a nod. Other human officers whispered that Villari did not trust humans. Or maybe she simply did not see Leo as important. This puzzled Leo. He worked hard every day. He followed orders well and did his best in training drills. Still, Villari acted as if he was invisible. One morning, Leo stood outside the training hall, waiting for his turn to spar. The hall was busy with alien soldiers practicing with their weapons. Villari entered quietly, her presence commanding attention. The room fell. Silent as she passed, Leo's heart beat faster. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck in his throat. She walked past him without a glance and took her place at the front. During the training session, Villari watched closely, but never spoke. She gave no praise or advice, even when Leo performed well. After the session, the other officers gathered around her, discussing plans and strategies. Leo tried to listen, hoping to catch a word or sign that she had noticed him. At night, Leo lay on his bunk, staring at the ceiling. He thought about Villari. Why did she avoid him? Was it because he was human, or was there something more? The next day, Leo saw Villari again in the command center. She stood at the large window, looking out at the stars. For a moment, their eyes met. Leo felt a strange warmth, but also fear. Then she looked away quickly. Leo blinked, wondering if he had imagined it. Days passed, and the silence between them stayed, but Leo noticed small things. Sometimes Villari stood close by during briefings, watching him quietly. Once, he heard her talking softly to another officer about him, but the words were too low to understand. One evening, the base received a message about a strange object found on a nearby moon. It was an alien probe that might hold important data. The commanders planned a mission to investigate. Leo watched as Villari prepared to lead the mission. To everyone's surprise, she called him forward and said, "You will be my support on this mission." The room went silent. Whispers filled the air. Why would the cold commander choose Leo? Leo felt his heart jump. This was his chance. And his worry. He was not sure if he was ready. Villari did not smile or look at him. She gave clear instructions. "Follow my orders. Stay close. Do not interfere." Leo nodded, swallowing his fear. "Yes, Commander." That night, Leo prepared his gear. The mission was risky. The moon was in a dangerous zone, with unstable terrain and unknown threats. As they boarded the small ship, Villari was calm and collected. Leo sat beside her, feeling nervous. She said nothing, focusing on the controls. During the flight, Leo tried to start a conversation. "Commander, why did you choose me?" he asked softly. Villari looked at him briefly, her eyes unreadable. "Because you do not waste words," she said. Then she turned back to the instruments. Leo was confused, but did not press further. When they landed, the air was thin and cold. They moved carefully through the rocky landscape. Suddenly, a hidden trap triggered. A rockslide blocked their path. Villari acted fast. She pulled Leo away from danger and scanned for an escape route. Leo's heart pounded. He realized how much she relied on him, even if she did not show it. Together, they found a safe path and completed their mission. Collecting the data from the probe, back on the ship, Leo finally dared to speak. "Thank you, Commander, for saving me." Villari looked at him for a long moment. Then she turned away and said nothing. Leo smiled quietly. Maybe she was not as cold as she seemed. The mission was over. But a new story was just beginning. After the mission to the moon, life on the space station seemed to return to normal. But Leo noticed something had changed. Commander Valari no longer ignored him completely. She still did not smile or speak freely, but she watched him more closely. And when the next operation came, she surprised everyone again. The joint forces were tasked with securing a dangerous outpost on a remote planet. The outpost had been taken over by hostile forces unknown to either humans or Arcari. It was a chance for both species to prove they could work together. Valari was chosen to lead the mission. Before the operation, Valari called Leo to her quarters. He felt nervous as he entered the room. The walls were decorated with symbols of Arcari, history and power. Valari stood tall, her expression calm but serious. "You will be my direct support," she said simply. Leo blinked. "Me? But I am just a junior officer." Valari looked at him sharply. "You followed orders well on the last mission. You think clearly. I need someone I can trust by my side." Leo swallowed his surprise. This was more than he had hoped for. But why did she choose him? As they prepared, Leo heard whispers among the soldiers. Some doubted a human could handle the pressure. Others wondered if Valari had a secret reason. Leo ignored them. He wanted to prove himself. The mission began with a shuttle ride to the planet's surface. The atmosphere was thick and gray, and the ground was rough. The team moved in formation, with Valari leading confidently. During the first encounter with hostile forces, Valari's skills were clear. She gave orders fast, moving her team with precision. Leo stayed close, watching her every move. At one point, a stray attack came near Leo. Valari was there instantly, pushing him out of harm's way. He looked up at her, surprised. "Stay behind me," she said quietly. Leo felt something strange, respect, maybe even care, in her voice. But before he could respond, she was back in command. After the fight, they secured the outpost. Valari gathered the team and gave a short speech. "We stand together, human and Arcari. Our strength is in unity." Leo listened, feeling proud. But deep inside, he still felt the distance between them. Later, during the night, Leo sat alone outside the outpost. The stars shone faintly through the thick clouds. He thought about Valari, the commander who chose him, but kept him at arm's length. Suddenly, footsteps approached. Valari appeared beside him, her eyes softer than usual. "You wonder why?" "I chose you," she said. Leo nodded. "In my culture, a bond is more than words. It is trust. You showed me that without trying." Leo looked at her, surprised to hear this. "But you don't even talk to me." Valari smiled faintly. "I observe. Actions tell more than speech." They sat quietly for a moment. Then Valari added, "There are things I must tell you, but not yet. Soon." Leo wanted to ask more, but she stood and left, disappearing into the shadows. The next day, rumors spread through the base. Some soldiers said Valari came from a noble line. Her family followed ancient traditions about choosing a bondmate, a partner for life and leadership. Leo overheard some saying it was strange for her to pick a human. He did not know what to believe. As the days went by, Valari continued to give Leo tasks that kept them working closely. He helped with strategy, security, and even training exercises. She was still cold at times, but her respect for him was clear. One afternoon, during a training drill, Valari called Leo to her side. "Watch this," she said, demonstrating a new combat technique. Leo tried to copy her moves but stumbled. Valari corrected him patiently, her tone softer than before. For a moment, Leo felt like she was teaching him not just as a commander, but as a person. Their eyes met briefly. Neither said anything that night. Leo dreamed of the stars and the strange bond forming between him and the alien commander. He did not understand it, but he knew his life was about to change in ways he could not yet imagine. The days passed slowly. On the space station, Leo continued to work closely with Commander Valari. Though she remained quiet and serious, Leo noticed small changes in her behavior. She no longer ignored him in meetings or on the training ground. Instead, she seemed to watch him carefully, as if trying to understand something about him. One evening, Valari surprised Leo again. She asked him to join her for a night patrol around the base perimeter. Night patrols were usually done by veteran soldiers, and Leo was only a junior officer. He felt nervous but honored. The sky outside was dark, with the faint light of distant stars. The station's metal walls cast long shadows. Leo walked beside Valari, feeling the quiet tension in the air. For a long time neither of them spoke. They moved silently through the halls and corridors, watching for any signs of trouble. After a while, Valari broke the silence. "Tell me about your home planet, Leo," she said quietly. Leo blinked in surprise. "My home? Earth?" Valari nodded. "Yes, what is it like?" Leo smiled softly. "It's a blue and green world with oceans, mountains, forests, and cities. People live in many ways. Some live in small villages, others in huge cities. We have many cultures, many languages." Valari listened carefully, her cold eyes warm with curiosity. "What? About love?" she asked suddenly. Leo's heart skipped a beat. "Love? You mean how humans show care for each other?" "Yes," Valari said. "How do you know when you love someone?" Leo thought for a moment. "Love is when you care for someone deeply, when you want to protect them, to share your life with them. It's not always easy. Sometimes it means making sacrifices, but it gives people strength." Valari looked at him closely. "Do you love Leo?" The question surprised him. He hesitated, but then said honestly, "I hope to. Maybe someday." Valari nodded. "Your words are simple, but they mean much." Alex felt a deep connection in that moment. Our hearts are very important to humans. They hold our life and emotions. Lyra closed her eyes, concentrating. "I want to learn how to share feelings like this." Alex reached out and touched her hand. "It takes time, but with patience we can understand each other." The night came quickly on Neria. Alex and Lyra made a small fire and sat close, talking under the stars. They shared hopes for peace and friendship between their peoples. Before they rested, Lyra asked one last question. "Alex, what does it mean to love someone truly?" Alex looked into her bright eyes. "To love is to care more for another than for yourself. It means trust, kindness, and wanting the best for them, even when it is hard." Lyra nodded slowly. "I want to learn to love like that," Alex smiled. "Maybe one day we will." As they fell asleep beneath the twin moons, Alex felt that their journey was just beginning, a journey of discovery, respect, and the promise of something greater than either had known before. Days passed on the beautiful planet Neria. The air was filled with fresh scents of flowers, and the soft rustling of leaves made a calm song that surrounded Alex and Lyra wherever they went. Their friendship was growing stronger every day, built on trust, curiosity, and kindness. Alex found himself learning new things, not just about Lyra's world, but about himself. He noticed how his own heart opened in ways he had never felt before. Lyra, too, seemed more comfortable with him, sharing smiles and stories like two old friends. One morning, they met beside a sparkling river that flowed through the forest. The water was so clear that Alex could see colorful fish swimming beneath the surface. Lyra stood barefoot on the soft grass, her blue skin glowing softly in the sunlight. "Today," Lyra said, "I want to show you something special." Alex's eyes lit up. "I'm ready." Lyra led him to a clearing surrounded by tall trees with leaves that shimmered silver in the light. In the center was a large stone circle, covered in ancient symbols and runes. "This is a place of memory," Lyra explained. "Our people come here to remember our ancestors' matters." Leo wanted to ask why she was so interested in love, but before he could, Valari was silent again. They continued their patrol, the soft hum of the station's engines the only sound. At one point, Leo noticed Valari watching him with a strange expression. It was not cold or distant, but thoughtful, almost gentle. The night patrol ended without incident. Valari led him back to their quarters. Before leaving, she paused and said, "You are not like others." Leo smiled. "I don't know what that means." Valari's eyes softened just a little. "You listen, you try to understand. That is rare." Leo felt a warmth he had never known from her before. Then she turned and left. That night, Leo lay awake, thinking about Valari's questions. Why did she ask about love? Why did she say he was different? He remembered the strange bond he had heard about among the Arcari, a connection deeper than friendship or loyalty, one that linked two souls for life. Could she be trying to tell him something, or was it just his hope? The next day brought new challenges. The station received word of a growing threat on a nearby planet. Reports said a rebel group was gaining power, planning attacks against the joint forces. Valari was called to a council meeting. Leo was asked to prepare strategies. While working late in the command center, Leo felt a presence behind him. Valari stood there watching him work without a word. She handed him a small data pad. "Take this to the field team," she said quietly. Leo nodded. Surprised by the direct order. As he left, he turned back and caught her looking at him. Not with coldness, but with something softer, like trust. For the first time, Leo felt that Valari was beginning to see him as more than just a junior officer. Days passed after the new mission. Orders arrived. Leo worked harder than ever, preparing supplies and plans to send to the field teams. Yet despite his growing closeness to Commander Valari, many questions still filled his mind. One evening, the space station received unexpected visitors. A high-ranking group from Valari's homeworld, the Arcari Council. They came to inspect the station and observe the cooperation between humans and Arcari. Their arrival brought a serious change in the atmosphere. Strict rules and traditions quickly followed. Leo watched as the council members spoke in their native tongue, their voices deep and full of authority. Valari greeted them with respect, but her expression was tense. Leo sensed that something important was about to happen. That night, as the base quieted, Leo was ordered to stay inside his room. His communicator was taken away for security reasons. Alone, he wondered what was going on. The next morning, Valari visited him in his quarters. Her face was serious but calm. "There are old customs among my people," she said softly. "Traditions about leadership and trust." Leo nodded, unsure what to say. Valari continued, "Part of these customs involves bonding. It is a sacred agreement between two souls. It is more than partnership. It ties fate and honor together." Leo looked at her, trying to understand. "You have already passed the first steps," Valari said quietly. "But now you must face the bonding test." "What is this test?" Leo asked, feeling a mix of fear and curiosity. "It is a trial. A way for my people to see if the bond is true. It is not about strength, but about heart and spirit." Leo swallowed hard. The weight of her words settled on him like heavy armor. Valari stood and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do not fear, I will be with you." The day of the bonding test arrived quickly. Leo was led to a large hall where many Arcari watched silently. The hall was filled with strange symbols, glowing faintly in the dim light. The air was thick with expectation. Valari stood beside him, her usual cold mask replaced with a softer look. She whispered, "Trust yourself." The council explained the test. Leo would not fight with weapons. Instead, he must defend Valari's honor and the bond they shared with only his words and courage. At first, Leo was confused. How could words be a weapon? But he knew this was important. One by one, council members asked questions. Some were sharp, trying to find flaws. Others were silent, observing his reaction. Leo spoke honestly about respect, trust, and unity between their peoples. He told them about his hope to build peace and friendship, not only between humans and Arcari, but among all who lived in the galaxy. He shared how he saw Valari not as a cold commander, but as a brave leader who had chosen to stand beside him. The room grew quiet as Leo's words settled in the air. Then, one council member, the eldest among them, nodded slowly. "Your heart speaks truth. Your spirit is strong." Valari stepped forward and touched Leo's forehead gently. The ancient sign of Arcari unity. The hall erupted in soft applause. Leo's chest swelled with pride. Valari smiled for the first time, a real smile that lit up her face. "You have passed." After the test, Leo and Valari returned to the base. Soldiers and officers greeted them with quiet respect. Some whispered about the rare bond between the human and the commander. That night, Leo sat alone in the observation deck. Looking out at the stars, Valari joined him and sat quietly beside him. You faced the test well, she said softly. You surprised many. Leo looked at her. I never thought I could do it, Valari smiled. You are stronger than you know. Strength is not only in the body, but in the heart. Leo felt a warmth spread inside him, a feeling of belonging, trust, and something deeper he could not yet name. They sat in silence. Two beings from different worlds, connected by something ancient and new. The journey was far from over, but Leo knew one thing clearly. He and Valari were no longer just commander and officer. They were bound by honor and respect, and that bond would change everything. The days after the bonding test were different. Leo could feel it in the way others looked at him, with quiet respect and curiosity. But most of all, he noticed how Commander Valari's behavior had changed. Just a little, but enough to make him hopeful. Still, the weight of their new bond rested heavily on his shoulders. He had no idea what it truly meant or what was expected of him. One afternoon, after a long briefing about the ongoing missions, Valari approached Leo quietly. Her eyes held a seriousness that made him stand still. Come with me, she said. They walked through the station's halls to a small, private room. Valari closed the door behind them. This is not easy for me to say, she began, her voice low. But you must understand why I chose you. Leo nodded, waiting. Valari took a deep breath. My people follow strict rules about bonding. It is not just a personal matter, but one that affects politics, honor, and the future of our people. Leo listened carefully. I understand. She continued, the bond means you and I are connected by duty and trust. If you walk away, it would cause dishonor and may lead to conflict between our peoples. Leo's heart pounded. I never wanted to cause trouble. I want peace. Valari's gaze softened slightly. I believe you, but others may not. She stepped closer and said quietly, you must stay on this station until the current moon cycle ends. For your safety and for ours. Leo swallowed hard. I will stay. For a moment they stood silently. Then Leo asked, why me? Why did you choose a human? Valari's eyes searched his face. Because you did not try to impress me. You were honest, steady, and true. That matters. Leo felt a strange warmth. He wanted to believe her, but fear still lingered. That night, Leo could not sleep. He thought about the weight of the bond, the expectations, and the unknown future. The next day, news came that rebel forces had attacked a nearby colony. The joint forces prepared to respond. Valari was to lead the defense. Leo was assigned to the command center to help coordinate. As the battle plans unfolded, tension filled the room. Valari commanded with fierce focus, but she kept glancing at Leo as if drawing strength from his presence. During a break, Leo found her alone in the hallway. Are you worried? He asked softly. Valari hesitated. Yes, this fight will test more than our weapons. Leo nodded. We will face it together. Valari looked at him, and for a moment her usual coldness melted away. You have grown strong, she said. Not just in body, but in spirit. Leo smiled. And you have taught me much. The battle was difficult. The rebels were fierce and well prepared. But under Valari's command, the joint forces fought with unity and determination. Leo stayed in the command center, sending orders and managing communications. Every successful move filled him with pride. After hours of struggle, the rebels retreated. The colony was saved. Back at the station, celebrations were quiet but sincere. Valari approached Leo in the command center. You did well, she said. Simply. Leo looked at her, feeling the bond between them more than ever. Then, unexpectedly, Valari spoke words he never thought he would hear. You will remain by my side, husband. The word echoed through Leo's mind. He froze, stunned. I turned and left, leaving Leo alone with the weight of her declaration. The room seemed suddenly larger and emptier. Leo's heart raced. What did this mean for him? For Valari? For their worlds? One thing was certain. His life had changed forever. The next morning, the station was quieter than usual. Word had spread quickly about Commander Valari calling Leo husband. The phrase echoed through the halls, stirring whispers and curious glances. Leo felt the weight of the moment pressing on him, but he knew he had to stay strong. Valari called Leo to the main hall where the Arcari Council awaited. This was the place where important decisions were made, and where Leo would face the trial of unity, the final step to confirm the bond between him and Vele Ri. As Leo entered the hall, he saw many Arcari watching him closely. Their faces were serious but respectful. Humans stood behind him, offering quiet support. Valari stood at the front, her expression calm but proud. She stepped forward and spoke in her strong voice. "This trial will show if Leo is worthy to be my bondmate and partner. It is not a test of strength but of heart and truth." The council elder nodded and began the trial. Instead of weapons or physical challenges, Leo faced questions and situations designed to test his honesty, courage, and respect for the bond. The first question was simple but deep. "Why do you wish to stand beside Commander Valari?" Leo took a deep breath. "Because I believe in her. Because she trusts me and I trust her. Together we can bring peace between our peoples." The council members exchanged looks, then moved on to the next test. Leo was asked to make a decision, one that would affect both human and Arcari lives. He listened carefully to the options. Weighing the risks and benefits, without hesitation, he chose the path that showed compassion and understanding. He spoke about the importance of protecting all lives, even those of enemies. The council members observed quietly, impressed by his thoughtful words. Then came the hardest part. Leo was asked to stand alone and defend Valari's honor. Some council members doubted that a human could understand the weight of their ancient traditions. Leo closed his eyes briefly, then spoke from his heart. "I may not share your history or language, but I know what honor means. It means loyalty, respect, and courage. Valari has chosen to trust me. I will honor her and our bond with my whole being." The hall was silent. Then one by one, council members nodded in approval. Valari stepped forward and touched Leo's forehead gently, the ancient symbol of unity and trust. The hall filled with soft applause. Leo felt a surge of pride and joy. He had passed the trial. After the ceremony, soldiers and officers greeted Leo with newfound respect. Some smiled warmly, others nodded quietly. Valari approached him and said softly, "You have changed many minds today." Leo smiled. "And you have changed mine." That night, the two sat together on the observation deck. Watching the stars, Valari spoke quietly. "This bond is more than ceremony. It is a promise. A promise to protect, to support, and to grow together." Leo looked at her, feeling the truth in her words. "I will do everything I can," he said. She nodded, her eyes shining. "I believe you will." The bond between them was no longer a secret or a question. It was real and strong. Leo knew the path ahead would be difficult. Many challenges awaited them, from politics, from enemies, and from their own doubts. But with Valari by his side, he felt ready to face whatever came. Together, they were a new force, a symbol of unity between two worlds. And their story was just beginning. The days after the trial of unity were filled with new feelings and new responsibilities. Leo could sense the shift not only in his own heart, but also in the eyes of those around him. The bond with Commander Valari was no longer just a secret or a rumor. It was known and accepted. The space station itself seemed to breathe differently. The once cold halls now felt warmer, as if hope had been planted deep in its core. One afternoon, Leo was sitting in the mess hall, quietly eating his meal. The room buzzed softly with conversations, soldiers and officers going about their day. He was thinking about the long journey he had taken, from a junior officer overlooked by Valari to a chosen bondmate. Suddenly, Valari entered the room. Her presence immediately quieted the chatter. She walked toward Leo without hesitation. The eyes of many followed her, curious to see what would happen. Without a word, Valari stopped beside Leo and said calmly, "You may sit beside me, husband." The word hung in the air like a delicate but powerful promise. Leo froze, stunned by the weight of her declaration. He looked up at her, heart pounding. Around them, a few soldiers whispered softly, but no one interrupted. Valari's gaze was steady, strong. She waited patiently for Leo's response. Slowly, a smile spread across Leo's face. It was a smile full of warmth, respect, and something deeper, belonging. He stood and took the seat beside her. The room seemed to brighten in that moment. For the first time, Leo felt truly accepted, not just by Valari, but by the world around him. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Leo and Valari grew stronger. They faced challenges together, political tensions, the pressure of leadership, and the expectations of two very different cultures. Yet, through it all, their connection remained a beacon of hope. One evening, as they walked through the station's gardens, Leo asked, "Do you ever regret choosing me?" Valari looked at him, her eyes soft but confident. "No, you have shown me courage, honesty, and loyalty. These are more valuable than any title or strength," Leo smiled. "I am still learning." "And so am I," she replied. Their journey was far from over. Together, they planned new missions to strengthen the alliance between humans and Arcari. They spoke openly about their hopes for peace and cooperation. The bond they shared became a symbol, proof that even the greatest differences could be overcome by trust and respect. As the stars shone brightly outside the station's windows, Leo and Valari stood side by side, ready to face the future together. No longer overlooked, no longer distant, they were partners, husband and commander, united by choice, honor, and a bond stronger than any force in the galaxy, and their story was only just beginning.